Pride. Pride and its many signs. Oh, pride. Isn't it our downfall? Remember that pride was the downfall of the angels, of Adam and Eve. Remember the Tower of Babel? All that, yeah? That's why we say it runs very deep in human nature. And we know that pride is one of the 7 capital vices. Why do they call them capital vices? Because they are the roots, yeah? The roots of other vices. And you know that vices are bad habits, and they are the opposite of virtues. Virtues are good habits. And then pride is, as we said, one of those 7 capital vices. In fact, it's usually put at the top, of the list. On this channel, I've already had a general video on the 7 capital vices. You can have a look at them. Among them would be pride, envy, gluttony, laziness, lust. Then what is pride really? Yeah, and we see that it has very many signs. Some of them that look like they're almost contradictory, but at the bottom of it is pride. Yeah, and I think simply put is that pride is overrating ourselves. Pride is overrating oneself. And we know that the opposite of pride is humility. Sometimes people think about humility like almost despising it, like it's a weakness. Of course, humility is not a weakness, yeah? In fact, they say that humility is the truth, yeah? Therefore, pride is actually a lie. It's usually a deceit, We are deceiving ourselves, we are deceiving others. And that's why we talk about it being really very deep and running very deep. And then they say, why do they say that humility is the truth? One writer says that humility is the truth. It's to know God as He really is, and to know ourselves as we really are. Yeah. And then in this, under this vice of pride, there are many signs. I can only mention just a few because the list can be very, very long, and just for us to check where we may have a point where we need to pull up on, or to eliminate, or to work on. Yeah. For example, any kind of complex is usually as a result of pride, whether it is inferior complex or superiority complex. At the bottom of it is really pride, because it's just not facing the truth. It's not facing ourselves as we are. Yeah. And then obviously some of the signs are the ones that are usually highlighted. For example, showing off, being a snob. But then, have you ever thought that sometimes shyness can be a sign of pride? Because sometimes shy people are shy because they don't want to show their true colors. They would rather that people think that they are really better than they are, or they don't want to be known as they really are, the true self. Yeah? So they would rather keep quiet and keep off and put on like an appearance, as it were. Yeah. For example, people who also think or they are too over concerned about what others think about them. That is usually pride. Yeah. Being touchy, because we don't want correction, we don't want to be told the truth. Any form of pretense really, is caused by pride. And like I say, the list goes on. Yeah. And I think for each one of us, it's a question of finding out what are those manifestations of pride in my life, yeah, so that I can work on them, and to avoid also what we call false humility, because false humility is like when people point out even the positives and we are pretending that actually it's not true, but probably even deep down we are thinking, yeah, they could have even described me a bit better, with better words. That is false humility. There's something to acknowledge that is good. We acknowledge it. We give compliments. If we don't give compliments to the others, sometimes it can be envy. It can be also pride that deceit. Yeah, that we are not being truthful. We train people on personality development, self-knowledge, and self-acceptance. So it's a question of, okay, just get in touch with us, and we can help you, yeah, to discover yourself, and certainly to put a finger on the cause of pride or the manifestations of pride in our life that can help us. Once we discover them, they can help us try to work on eliminating that vice, fighting that defect that we have, yeah? So that we can grow in virtues, yeah? And in this particular case, so that we can grow in the virtue of humility, which we know is the truth, yeah? And as I said, truth will make us free. Bye. I'll see you in my next video.